into the night. What a thrill. I'm searching and I'll melt into you. What a fear in my heart, but you're so supreme. I give my life, not for honor, but for you. In my time, there'll be no one else. Crime, it's the way I fly to you. I'm still in a dream, snake eater. Someday you go through the rain, and someday you'll feed on a tree frog. It's ordeal, the trial to survive. For the day we see new light, I give my life, not for honor, but for you. In my time, there'll be no one else. Crime, it's the way I fly to you. I'm still in a dream, snake eater. I'm still in a dream, snake eater.
Нам эту составку еще раз смотреть. Потом. Господи. Апай, возможно, на работе, кстати. Так что сосай. У меня очень мало времени. У меня всего 3 дня на то, чтобы постримить 2 игры. Одна из которых, сука, блядь, 9 часов заставок. Так что сегодня терпите. Походу мне придется успеть постримить весь МГС. Ну, тебе можно на работе смотреть, а ей нет. Подождите. А я не помню, что я выбирал. Ну, впрочем, наверное, так вот. Я буду просто, наверное, умирать сегодня на нормале. Потому что я не помню, чтобы я проходил эту игру на нормале.
After the end of World War II, the world was split into two, East and West. This marked the beginning of the era called the Cold War.
У нее вроде колл-центр там вообще никак. То есть у нее и пеки-то, наверное, и нету. Ноль. Кодзима летит на личном самолете.
Flying over Pakistan, altitude 30,000 feet.
Approaching Soviet airspace.
20 minutes to drop off.
Commencing internal depressurization. Equipment check. Arm main parachute.
All right. You ready to go?
Drop zone still showing a high pressure mass. Cav okay.
Good. We've got high visibility.
Блин, я и забыл, что здесь их показывают вообще-то. Что Мэйджор Томас, что этого парамедика.
Put out that cigar. Connecting oxygen hose to interior connector.
В России сваливает.
Put on your mask. Does this panty waste know what he's doing?
Approaching release point.
10 minutes to drop off.
Hey, are you deaf?
He said put out the cigar and put on your mask.
Depressurization complete.
Checking oxygen supply.
6 minutes to drop off. Opening rear hatch.
Sunrise.
Тю, он еще пока не бас. Ключи бросил.
External temperature minus 46 degrees Celsius. 2 minutes to drop off.
Трудовика.
Stand up.
You'll be falling at 130 miles per hour. Try not to get frostbite from the wind chill.
1 minute to drop off. Move to the rear.
Activate bailout model.
This is one for the history books. The world's first halo jump.
10 seconds to drop off. Stand by. Status okay. All green.
Prepare for drop-off. Countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2,
Фат, не трясись, пожалуйста.
Spread your wings
and fly. God be with you.
Я не совсем понял, в чем суть этого прыжка, но в том, что он необычный. Что они с какой-то суперской высоты, что ли, сиганули, или что?
Jack, I've got some important news. The head of the CIA has finally given us the green light for the virtuous mission.
Virtual mission?
No, the virtuous mission. The future of our Fox unit depends on it. If it succeeds, we'll be officially organized into a unit.
Virtuous mission? Sounds like some kind of initiation ritual.
You know, don't get cocky. This isn't a training op.
Right. So what exactly is this wonderful mission?
Well, about 2 years ago, a certain Soviet scientist requested asylum in the West through one of our moles. His name is Nikolai Stepanovich Sokolov. He's head of the OKB 754 Design Bureau, one of the Soviets' top-secret weapon research facilities, and the East's foremost
Круто.
expert on weapons development.
Sokolov. Isn't he that famous rocket scientist?
The very same.
Rocket Scientist.
On April the 12th, 1961, the Soviets achieved the first manned spaceflight in history.
The Earth was blue, but there was no God.
Well spoken. The rocket that carried Yuri Gagarin into orbit was the A-1, known as the Vostok rocket. Sokolov is said to be the man most responsible for the multi-engine cluster used in that rocket. After Gagarin's flight, Sokolov left rocket development to become the head of the newly established Design Bureau.
From a lowly technician to head of a design bureau. That's quite
Эх,
a
жалко
success
русики не
story.
накатить.
So why do you want to defect?
It seems he'd become afraid of his own
Хотя
creation.
на PS2 эмуляторе, наверное, есть русик.
Call it a crisis of conscience.
And for that, he left his country and his family behind and went over the
Может быть,
fence.
даже на пиратской
Not
PS3.
exactly. One of his conditions was that his family was also to
четверке, я
be
помню,
taken
русик был.
safely to the west. We used a mole to get the family out first, and succeeded in sneaking Sokolov over the Berlin Wall shortly afterwards. I was the one who conducted the operation.
The security on the eastern side was still full of holes back then. Then what?
We got Sokolov over in one piece, but the whole ordeal had left him exhausted, and we checked him into a hospital in West Berlin. It It took him 2 weeks and more than 600 miles to get from the research facility in the Soviet Union to Berlin. He was in no condition to say anything coherent. And it was only a week later that we had something much bigger on our hands.
The Cuban Missile Crisis.
October the 16th, 1962, President Kennedy received word that the Soviets were in the process of deploying intermediate-range ballistic missiles in Cuba. The President demanded that the Soviets dismantle and remove the missiles. At the same time, he announced a naval blockade to prevent further missile shipments from reaching Cuba. But the Soviets didn't back down, instead placing their armed forces on secondary alert. Soviet
Khrushchev,
ships
пожалуйста.
carrying missiles continued on course towards Cuba. US and Soviet forces went on alert for an all-out nuclear war. Frantic negotiations were conducted through the UN's Emergency Security Council and unofficial channels to end the hair-trigger standoff. Finally, on October the 28th, the Soviet Union agreed to remove its missiles from Cuba. And so the world avoided a nuclear holocaust. But in order to get the Soviets to pull their missiles out, we had to make a deal.
You mean the one where the US agreed to remove its IRBMs from Turkey?
No. The Jupiter IRBMs deployed in Turkey were obsolete, and we were going to get rid of them anyway. They had no strategic value whatsoever to either the US or the Russians. The Turkey deal was a ruse, a cover story that was fed to the other intelligence agencies around the world.
So what did the Russians really want?
Sokolov. They wanted us to return Sokolov.
You mean the Soviets pulled out of Cuba just to get their hands on Sokolov?
That's right.
What the hell was he working on?
At the time, we had no
Shagohod.
idea. We were running out of time. It was either give up Sokolov or risk full-scale nuclear war. In the end, we had no choice. President Kennedy gave in to Khrushchev's demand. The next day, I got Sokolov out of the hospital, handing him over to agents on the eastern side. Sokolov kept on screaming, "Save me," until he disappeared from my sight. Then a month ago, we received some new information from one of our moles.
About Sokolov?
Yes. He was taken back to the research facility and forced to continue working on the weapon in question under KGB supervision. What's more, it's on the verge of completion.
So what kind of weapon is it? Something to do with space rockets?
No, missiles.
Same technology.
I guess you're right. We don't know the details, but it appears to be a new kind of nuclear device. For half a year now, the Soviets have been conducting frequent nuclear tests at Semipalatinsk.
Something to do with the
Что за
weapon, I
Сири
assume.
по-латински?
We're talking about a secret weapon so big that Khrushchev was ready to pull out of Cuba to get it back.
Is Sokolov still in the facility?
No, according to our intelligence, he's in Selino-Yarsk, a place in the mountains about 3 miles to the west that's known as the Virgin Cliffs.
The Virgin Cliffs. Nice name for a virtuous mission.
They moved him there just recently.
Why?
Apparently, they're conducting a field test of the weapon, but it's our best chance to get him back. This mission would never have been possible if he was still in the research facility. This is our last chance. Sokolov must have known that too when he contacted us.
Че, не понравился тебе? Ну, тут он специально иначе как-то звучит. У меня плойка повисла или что? А. Но потом лучше будет, Кать. Бан батя, да.
Listen up, Jack. Your mission is to infiltrate Selino-Yarsk in the Soviet mountains, ensure the safety of Sokolov, and bring him back to the west. If we don't get Sokolov back before that weapon is complete, we'll be facing a major crisis. The clock is ticking.
Жалко, нельзя в полете позвонить кому-нибудь.
Once we've confirmed the rescue of Sokolov, stand by at the
Ой.
recovery point. A recovery balloon will
Блять,
be
я
dropped
забыл,
at
что
that
тут
point.
управление пипец.
Helium will be pumped into the balloon to inflate it. The process takes about 20 minutes. Once it's complete, the gunship's arm will latch onto the balloon and pull it up.
The Fulton surface-to-air recovery system. I'm familiar with the theory.
Take it easy. It's been combat-proven.
Do you think Sokolov is up to it?
Эти ваши Фултоны. Кстати, жалко,
The
в
shock
игре
will be
нет ни
less than
одного.
during a parachute jump, and the arm can handle up to 500 pounds.
So you're planning on going over the border in a single combat Talon?
She's equipped with two 6-barrel 20mm Vulcan cannons, as well as two 40mm machine guns.
Sounds like she could hold her own against a
О,
battalion of
круто.
tanks.
Even with the fuel in the reserve tank, we're facing a 4-hour time limit. If all goes well, it shouldn't take more than a few hours.
Home in time for dinner.
But if anything goes wrong,
You'll be eating dinner, breakfast,
and all the rest of your meals in the jungle.
Просто я минус на джангл. Welcome to the jungle. Та-та-та-та-та. Вала каждые 10 минут. Да блин, да, я вспоминаю этот интернет тоже. Ужас. У меня примерно стримы так и выглядели. Бывало каждые 10 минут. А что за компания к вам приехала? Он головой ударился. Я этого не замечал, но он головой ударился об землю. С таким еще звуком характерным. Они там сказали, мы тебе не даем никакой эквипмент, чтобы ты не оставлял следов. У него на шлеме написано US Army. Понимаете? Кадзимыч, ну ты чего? И все, и он там кинул все это дело. Доброе утро, Мамлей. Рязань Телеком. Нет, это она самая новая.
Do you copy? You're already in enemy territory, and somebody might be listening in. From here on out, we'll be using code names to refer to each other. Your code name for this mission will be Naked Snake. I'll be referring to you as Snake from now on. You're not to mention your real name.
Snake?
What, you don't like snakes?
What do you mean?
You've eaten one before, haven't you?
In survival training?
I'm glad to hear that.
I don't know if I'd ever order one in a restaurant, but...
Be careful, you might not have a choice.
What about you, Major? What should I call you?
Let's see.
Да, это с самого начала.
I'll be Tom. Call me Major Tom. This will be a sneaking mission. You must not be seen by the enemy. You must leave no trace of your presence. Is that clear? This kind of infiltration is the Fox unit's speciality. In other words, weapons and equipment are procured on site. That goes for food as well. You're
Вот он
completely
рассказывает про
naked, just as your name implies.
Great. Now I see why you asked me if I like snakes. I suppose calling me Snake was your idea of a joke, too.
No, there's a good reason for that. I'll tell you later when the time is right.
Gotcha. Getting back to the subject, how exactly am I supposed to feed myself?
You've been issued a knife and a tranquilizer gun. Use them to hunt for food. You'll also find some medical supplies in your backpack.
Yeah, about the backpack. I lost it in a tree on the way down.
Ну так
I
лезь
see.
за ним.
Well, you'd better go back and get it then. You know where it is?
No problem. I can see it from here. It's stuck on a branch.
To climb a tree, stand in front of a tree that's covered in ivy and press the action button.
Чё так дорого?
I'll be monitoring your progress over the radio. We can't risk violating Soviet airspace, but I'll be in the gunship. My frequency is 140.85. I'll give you a call if I need to talk to you. If you need to talk to me, use the send function. Okay, Snake, go get your backpack.
Так, теперь надо еще будет вспоминать управление. А можно как будто какая-то задержка. Так, бэкпэк у нас где-то тут. Господи. Ай, что ты делаешь, Снейк? Так, а я не помню, как это сделать. Лунная проползка, да.
I see you've retrieved your backpack, Snake. To equip a weapon, it's necessary to take it out of your backpack. In the survival viewer, choose Weapon from the backpack. Your available weapons will be displayed in a window in the upper left. From that list, choose the weapon you want to equip and press the Enter button. For other equipped items, just do the same thing from Item.
Got it. Use the survival viewer backpack.
Yep, that's right. Survival is fundamental to this mission. After you've been out in the field for a while, your stamina will start to drop. If your stamina gets too low, it'll affect your performance. You won't be able to shoot accurately, for example, and your wounds won't heal as smoothly. Keep an eye on your stamina so you don't run out. To recover lost stamina, you can hunt
Ох,
for
я
broken
проебусь
flora and
боссом
fauna.
на нормале.
And
Ох,
use either your
ох.
tranquilizer gun or your knife to hunt.
My only weapon is a Mark 22 Hush Puppy tranquilizer gun.
That's
Ну,
right.
если тут
It's been
СВД
fitted with its
валяется.
own suppressor. However, the suppressor will deteriorate every time you fire. Once its durability reaches 0, the noise suppression effect will be gone. So don't get too trigger happy with it. The suppressor's durability is shown in the icon. Any
Со
weapons or
всеми.
equipment beyond what you're carrying now, you'll have to find as you go.
I have to find my own weapons and equipment? Whose crazy idea was this anyway?
Solo covert actions are
Oh.
standard Fox operating procedure. You can't leave any traces of your presence. No weapons, equipment, footprints, sweat, or bodily waste. The same goes for bullets and cartridges, too. Your presence in enemy territory is already a violation of international conventions of warfare. There aren't supposed to be any
Да?
American soldiers
Это
in
хорошо.
Russia.
Это хороший хинт.
It could spark an international incident. You
Я
can't
не
let
думаю, что это
anyone
тот
see
самый
you.
босс, с которым я
You
буду
can't let the
мучиться.
enemy
Хотя
know you're there.
посмотрим.
This is a stealth mission. You're a ghost, Snake, in every sense of the word. And there'll be
Меня
no
скорее
rescue
Волгин
of your
напрягает,
capture.
если
The
честно.
military and US government will deny any involvement in the
И
affair.
Оцелот.
Then I'll just have to take care of myself, huh?
I'm afraid so. You've been given a fake death pill for that purpose.
меня
SAS
есть-
guidelines stipulate that soldiers on covert ops like this one
Что
be
там,
issued a
Амрей?
potassium cyanide capsule. Tape it to your body so you can take it when you need to.
How generous.
Ну,
of
я
you.
же не очень меткий, давай.
Use it if you're taken prisoner by the enemy. It'll send you into a state of false death for a short time.
Fooling them into thinking that I'm really dead. So, how do I come back to life?
Just take the revival pill.
You mean that thing they put in my tooth before the mission?
That's the one. But be careful. If you remain in a state of false death for too long, nothing will be able to bring you back. Remember that.
I'll keep it in mind. You said this was a solo mission, right?
Right.
I guess that means I can't count on any reinforcements.
Correct. The mission rests entirely in your hands.
A real one-man army.
Relax. There's a support team ready to back you up over the radio.
Who?
I'll introduce them to
Моральная
you. This
поддержка.
time, survival is of utmost importance.
А, этот,
The
который...
first member of the support team
Я
will be in
помню.
charge of monitoring your physical condition, acting as a medic, so to speak, as well as recording your mission data.
Что-то хайп такой по
She's a
поводу
member
этой
of
игры. Я в
Fox
ней
as
ничего
well,
такого
and
не увидел.
She's here on the gunship with me.
She.
Hello, Snake. I'm paramedic. Nice to meet you.
Paramedic.
As in a medic who comes
Это
in by
замаскированный
parachute.
Казима на самом
Aren't you
деле.
going to tell
Потому
me
что
your real
постоянно
name?
пиздит что-то
Are
про
you going to
фильмы.
tell me yours, Mr. Snake?
My name, huh? It's John Doe.
And they call you Jack for short. You're a regular Captain Nemo.
A name means nothing on the battlefield. After a week, no one has a name. What's your name?
Jane Doe.
Very funny.
I wasn't joking, but I'll tell you my name only if you manage to make it back alive. My frequency is 145.73.
Да мне все равно. Ты в
She's
меню
also in
есть.
charge of recording your mission data.
Гарар.
Whenever you want to save, send a message over the reserved save frequency.
Да, потом слушай про фильмы, блядь, полчаса.
140.96.
So saving lets me record my mission data.
That's right. It also records the state of your health.
Good to know.
There's one more person I want to introduce you to, Snake.
Huh?
Speaking of snakes, you remember the boss, don't you? A legendary soldier and your mentor. Actually, it was the boss that got the DCI's authorization in the first place. She's going to be serving as Fox's mission advisor.
Boss is?
She also helped me plan this mission. She and I were at SAS together.
Jack, is that you? How many years has it been?
У них тут конференция скайпа.
That's right. It's me. Talk to me. Let me hear your voice.
It's been 5 years, 72 days, and 18 hours.
You've lost weight.
You can tell just by the sound of my voice.
Of course I can. I know all about you.
Really? Well, I don't know anything about you.
What's that supposed to mean?
Why'd you disappear on me all of a sudden?
I was on a top secret
Господи,
mission.
Снейк, ты как ребенок.
You didn't need me anymore.
But there were still so many things I wanted you to teach me.
No, I taught you everything you needed to know about fighting techniques. I taught you all I could. The rest you needed to learn on your own.
Techniques, sure. But what about how to think like a soldier?
How to think like a soldier? I can't teach you that. A soldier needs to be strong in spirit, body, and technique. And the only thing you can learn from someone else is technique. In fact, technique doesn't even matter. What's most important is spirit. Spirit and body are like two sides of a single coin. They're the same thing. I can't teach you how to think. You'll just have to figure it out for yourself. Listen to me, Jack. Just because soldiers are on the same side right now doesn't mean they always will be.
Вот эта вот
Having
фраза.
personal feelings about your comrades is one of the worst sins you can commit. Politics determine who you face on the battlefield. And politics are a living thing. They change along with the times. Yesterday's good might be tomorrow's evil.
Is that why you abandoned me?
No, it had nothing to do with you. I already told you, Jack. I was on a top secret mission. A soldier has to follow whatever orders he's given. It's not his place to question why. But you're looking for a reason to fight. You are a natural-born fighter, but you're not quite a soldier. A soldier is a political tool, nothing more. That's doubly true if he's a career soldier. Right and wrong have no place in his mission. He has no enemies and no friends. Only the mission. You follow the orders you're given. That's what being a soldier is.
I do whatever I have to get the job done. I don't think about politics.
That's not the same thing. Sooner or later, your conscience is going to bother you. In the end, you have to choose whether you're going to live as a soldier or just another man with a gun. There's a saying in the Orient, loyalty to the end. Do you know what it means?
Being patriotic.
It means devoting yourself to your country.
I follow the president and the top brass. I'm ready to die for them if necessary.
The president and the top brass won't be there forever. Once their terms are up, others will take their place.
I follow the will of the leader, no matter who's in charge.
People aren't the ones who dictate the missions.
Then who does?
The times. People's values change over time. And so do the leaders of a country.
Я не могу научить тебя думать как солдат. Но вот тебе как думать как солдат.
The enemies we fight
Босс,
are only
пожалуйста.
enemies in relative terms, constantly changing with the times. As long as we have loyalty to the end, there's no point in believing in anything, even in those we love.
And that's the way a soldier's supposed to think?
The only thing we can believe in with absolute certainty is the mission, Jack.
All right, but do me a favor.
What is it?
Call me Snake.
Snake. Oh, right. Your code name is Snake. It suits you well.
That's right. The legendary unit that the boss put together during World War II was a snake. The Cobra unit. A group of heroes that brought the war to an end and saved the world. As long as you've got a legendary hero backing you up, you'll be fine. Isn't that right, Snake?
Yeah, I can't think of anyone else I'd rather have with me. Oh, and one more thing, boss.
Yes?
It's good to hear your voice again.
Same here. After all, who knows if either of us will make it out alive? Snake, you are always best at urban warfare and infiltrating buildings. But this is the jungle. Survival is going to be key. Those CQC techniques I taught you are sure to come in handy.
Да уж.
CQC. Close quarters combat, huh? I've been in the Green Berets for the past few years. I'm probably pretty rusty.
Not to worry. I'll be here to help you remember. After all, this is your first actual survival mission. I'll be supporting you over the radio.
Where are you, boss? Next to the Major?
The boss is communicating with us by radio from aboard a Permit-class submarine in the Arctic Ocean.
Как вообще сигнал
My
проходит?
frequency is 141.80. Call me if you need my advice on battle techniques.
Gotcha.
Your mission is to retrieve Dr. Sokolov. Dr. Sokolov is being held in an abandoned factory located to the north of your current position. Avoid heavy combat and don't let anyone see you. Don't forget that this is a stealth mission.
Да уж, да, стелс, Миша. Сейчас я такой тут стелс покажу.
Snake, try to remember some of the basics of CQC.
Фляжка с надписью US.
Commencing virtuous mission now.
Так, что у меня есть-то? Микрофон. Вот зачем мне сейчас микрофон? Я даже не знаю, а зачем он нужен. Так. Господи. Да, дремучий лес. Время насасывать в МГС. Капа. Так, как целиться? Я уже забыл. Если кто-то что-то помнит важное, сразу не молчите, потому что я ничего не помню почти. Это моя волшебная физическая особенность — забывать игры, в которые я играю. Мне бы еще сейчас не соснуть тут. Кстати, по поводу камуфляжа, у меня все на месте. Серьезно, подождите. Нет, не на месте. Фу, слава богу, я уж обосрался, думаю, блин. Думаю, сейчас будем тут играть, блин, со всеми пушками. А то у меня там заанлочено, а у меня, наверное, сейвы стерлись тоже. Что, кстати, очень странно. Блин, травон, пощади. Слишком густой для меня. Ой, нет, только не крокодилы. Только не они. Вообще не хотелось бы тратить на них патроны. Ой, блядь! Не смей. Не смей. Нет, нет, нет. Мне бы какой-нибудь другой пистолет, который не тратил бы мой супрессор. Очень много крокодилов. Я вот не помню, но... А, мне еще не научили. Ножом, ага, на нормале. Я помню, они меня на изи там хвостом били. Знатно так. Вот фрукт лежит, что ты его не поднимаешь? Будем жрать свежих змей. Еще одна ползет. Остался крокодил. Ну так они зелененькие, специально там прям в травочке лежат, чтобы их никто не видел. Хотя они там такой толпой лежат. Как же он мне напоминает Волверина с этой бородой своей.
Major, I've spotted 2 enemy soldiers.
They're probably KGB troops sent to guard Sokolov.
AK-47s and grenades.
Конечно. Какое еще оружие
Snake, your
у
presence
советское?
in Soviet territory is
С
already a
советской армией.
violation of international law. You can't let the Kremlin find out that the CIA and the American government are involved. Contact with the enemy is strictly prohibited. Don't engage them in battle either. This is a stealth mission. Got that?
The Major is right. The point of this mission is to sneak through the jungle without being seen. The success of the mission depends on how well you use your camouflage.
Неправильно,
Change your
мамулей. Только
camouflage by
АК-47.
selecting Camouflage from the Survival Viewer. The Uniform option lets you pick your uniform, while the Face option lets you change your face paint. Choosing camouflage that blends in with your surroundings will help you conceal yourself more effectively. Also, don't forget that anything that moves will stand out in the jungle. If you just stand up and run around like an idiot, you're bound to be spotted. But if you crawl instead, you should be able to sneak by without being noticed. You can see how effective your camouflage is by looking at the camo index. The camo index shows how well your current camouflage blends in with the surrounding area. The higher the value, the harder you are to spot, and vice versa. The key is to make yourself one with nature.
Мне нравится,
Keep that
как
in
он там
mind as you
будет,
go
типа,
along, okay?
переодеваться при врагах. Такой, так, секундочку. Мне нужно переодеться. Куда ты встал? Вот что мне реально в этой игре не нравилось всегда, это то, что эта сволочь постоянно от первого лица переходит, когда в траву залазит. Это не транквилайзер ган. А, нет, это она. Ок. А чё мне, кстати, так здоровья мало? Я вот не помню, а чё оно дальше-то не устанавливается. Здравствуйте. Так, ну что там? На круг, треугольник, крест. Квадрат. Курить меньше надо было, да. Лучше бы с тебя выпал какой-нибудь супрессор. Что-то у меня какая-то не очень хорошая камуфляжка. Серьезно, вот это? По-моему, игра сломалась. Если я в траву залезу, там все будет по-другому. Нет, ты гляди. But why? Не лучшая штука, но сойдет для сельской местности. Сука, 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 сука. Не надо так делать. Там еще один ходит. Как-то не так сделали игру, что прям не видно. Блять. Я обосрался, мне смс-ка пришла со звуком. Сейчас, сек. Вот что бывает, когда у тебя на телефоне стоят звуки из МГС, блин. Что-нибудь приходит, играешь в МГС и охуеваешь. Кто тебя запалил. Обосраться можно. Где-то здесь, по-моему, то ли очки лежат, то ли еще что-то. Прекратите. Никто. Кто-то бежал? Ой-ой. Ребята, ну чё вас тут так много-то? Птички. Вот он! Сука. Не хочу тебя знать. Не хочу тебя знать. Так, а что-то я это... Погодите-ка. Поворот пропустил. Там, наверное, сейчас уже этот парень проснулся. Нет, еще спит. Я, кстати, не помню, все, что мы здесь лутаем, оно потом остается у нас или нет? В этом... В другой миссии. Вот, СВДХ. Так. Giant Anaconda. Минус 15. Мое лицо. А СВД ведь не с супрессором. Плохо. Очень плохо. Вот не жарко им в джунглях-то. Это улыбка. Снейк, пожалуйста. Ничего не вижу. Я не попал. Я не попал. Зато там он есть кератончик. Капа. Ой, блядь. Тихо. Ну вот надо было так зафейлить. Самое легкое, что здесь есть. Ой. Блин, трубу убрать. А второй идет, и ему пофиг. Тут можно стрелять веревки моста. Зачем? Подожди. Ой, бля. Тихо. Ну, впрочем... Впрочем, мне туда и надо. Что я могу сказать? Так, парень, не уходи. Упс. Я не то отстрелял. Я фрукт отстрелял. А я вот не помню, он сейчас вон всех. Да, они все убегают. Так, я забыл, на какую кнопку, если ты вот так вот упал. Треугольник, наверное. Вот я на X нажал, наверное. Потому что что-то как-то я это... немножко упал. Ой, ползи, Снэк, ползи. Знаешь, как хочется прям как в четверке остановиться на время, чтобы он перекрасился. Да, иногда юзаю. Такой модный красный костюмчик вообще совершенно не подходит.
Major, I've reached the abandoned factory where Sokolov is supposedly being held. This place is a dump.
Деревья такие треугольные.
I can't see Sokolov
Молодец.
from here. The security is pretty tight.
Да, кстати, security реально протитает.
There are sentries posted around the perimeter. I wonder how many are inside.
0. Если не ошибаюсь, здесь, по-моему, можно просто на мимо проскочить и залезть сразу.
Your objective, Sokolov, is inside the factory. They should be holding him in a room in the northeast section.
Northeast section. Got it.
Be careful. Your mission is to bring Sokolov back alive. He must not be exposed to any kind of danger. Do not approach Sokolov while in the alert phase.
Right.
Oh, and one more thing, Snake.
You mean there's more?
No, it's just that when you get to Sokolov, I want you to tell him something from me.
And that is?
Sorry for being so late.
Is that all?
Yes.
Understood. Beginning my approach to the target.
Билдсбол. Билдсбол давай. Так. Что у нас есть еще? Есть автомат. Hornet's Nest. Серьезно? Яблоко, молоко. Ок. Press to hold, release throw. Блин, а чё, они не это? Надо было в него прям попасть? Блин. Ну так нечестно. Можно попасть в него яблочком? Слушай, ну я же не... Я же не вижу, куда я кидаю. Ну так нечестно. Так нечестно, ладно. Тости. Ах ты, сучка. Не верти головой. Так, верните мне мою еду. Ой. Вот тут я все время кого-нибудь да не вижу. По-моему, тут есть какой-то один парень, ну там наверху. Который меня вечно, блядь, палит. Я его сейчас не вижу. Ой. Тихо. Тихо. Отвернись. 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 Ходят тут, бродят. Я его не вижу. Чего не берется-то? Не помнишь, где термальные очки, Навай? Потому что мне бы очень хотелось их найти. У меня такое ощущение, что они где-то в начале. Или я с МГС-2 путаю. Мерзкие звуки. Тихо. Тихо.
Who's that?
Блин. Все, это провал. Вот он наверху там где-то. Интересно, они меня здесь запалят? Посмотрим. Все очень плохо. Что-то как-то быстрый вэжен проходит. Ну, сейчас еще коужен будет дофига. Наклониться? Наклониться? Я даже не знаю. Ни разу тут не попадался. Ну давай. Полили, но я все время рестартил. Ой, все. Ой, все, сейчас всех поднимут. Мне нужен только Соколов. Тихо. Вот у вас тут толпень-то носится. Они убежали? Серьезно? Один вот тут ходит, сучка. Тихо. Трое. Вот что это за сволочь тут одна стоит такая? Ой, две уже. Или это птичка? Здесь еще антиперсонал на радар, который пик. Я не помню, что сонар дает. Мины, что ли, показывает? Animals. Ясно. Блять, Коушен, пожалуйста. Проще, наверное, уже рестартнуть всю хуйню. Сейчас они его запалят, что он там валяется, поднимут и опять Коушен ресетится. Нахуй так жить. Блять, прям толпой туда идут. Снейк застрял у меня. Не ползет ни в куда. Ни вниз, никуда. Уснул на работе он. Все, оставьте его в покое. Пожалуйста. Подождите, у меня 4 супрессора? Мужики, заканчивайте уже свой обход. Блять. У меня больше вопрос, who's that? Почему нельзя ему выстрелить в ногу?
Nobody here. What's wrong?
Блять. Тихо. Так, где эта троица? А, не. Фу. Вот сейчас они когда обратно побегут все, будет проблема. Через 3, 2, 1. Они, возможно, вот этих парней найдут.
Patrol here. Unable to locate the problem.
Understood. Return to your position.
Как будто у меня радар включился, которого нету. Вот, кстати... Камень в огород МГС-3 за то, что у него нету этого радара. Ну, с радаром было бы слишком изи. Вон она, дверь-то. Вон она.
You must be Sokolov.
Are you one of Volgin's men? You'll never get it from me.
No. I'm a CIA agent. I've come to escort you back to the other side of the Iron Curtain.
You're CIA?
Yeah. I was sent by Major Zero, the man who got you out 2 years ago.
Zero?
I have a message from him.
What is it?
He said to tell you sorry for being so late.
Did he now?
What does it mean?
It means he's a man of his word. But we've got no time for this. You have to get me out of here before they arrive.
Who's they?
Colonel Volgin of Gru. You in the West know him as Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt? Never heard of him.
He's a member of the Army's extremist faction, a man who seeks to seize control of the motherland. Ever since the Cuban Missile Crisis 2 years
У нас, конечно, на Красной почте всегда вот так армия ходит туда-сюда.
Coexistence with the West. Despite resistance and criticism from hawks in the army and the provincial authorities, Khrushchev has managed to suppress the opposition so far. But the failure of his agricultural policies has put him in a precarious position. And on top of that, the tragedy last November.
President Kennedy's assassination.
Precisely. In a sense, Khrushchev has lost his biggest partner, and his power base is rapidly crumbling away. A certain group is plotting to use this opportunity to seize
Certain group,
by rallying
балалайка.
the anti-government forces, overthrowing Khrushchev, and installing
Я тут еще недавно узнал, что, оказывается, и гречку только мы жрем
The mastermind
во всем
behind this
мире.
plot is Colonel Volgin of the Gru. He has control over another secret weapons research facility much like this one, OKB-812, known as the Granin Design Bureau, and is using it to further his plans. But that is not enough to satisfy him. Now he's plotting to seize the secret weapon I have been developing here and use it as leverage in his bid for power.
Ну да, популярно только в России. Ну, кто бы сомневался, Грови. Конечно же, греча от души. Но у нас вот рис не так сильно прижился. Хотя нет. Ну, в общем, не настолько сильно, как, например, в Японии или в Китае. У нас гречка. Гречка с молоком, гречка с сахаром, гречка со всем вообще. Гречка с котлетами, гречка с хуйцами. Аллах из гречки, небо из гречки. Блять, Соколов, заканчивай, мы все уже поняли. Что ты тут у нас такой злой доктор, все разрабатываешь. Он, кстати, больше на немца похож. Гречка с гречкой, да. Вот. Your Russian is супер, вот эта фраза мне нравится.
From my mentor.
Your Russian is superb.
Is that so? America is truly a frightening country.
Having second thoughts?
No. I have no love for this place. Let's go.
Сейчас такой-то let's go будет. Сорта лапши.
Major, this is Snake. Sokolov is safe with me. He's doing fine. No injuries.
Good work, Snake. Now hurry up and get Sokolov
Подожди,
to the
лапша из
recovery
гречки,
point.
я должен
We'll
это попробовать.
rendezvous with you there.
Roger.
What about the sentries?
I managed to get past them.
А гречка из
I
лапши
see.
есть?
What about the boss?
We lost contact with the boss some time ago.
What happened?
It's probably just a weak signal. Just hurry and get Sokolov out of there.
Ну, из риса у них там все есть. Матушка наша, а хлебец ржаной, отец наш родной. Господи, где ты так откапываешь, мамлей? Как тебе рисовая водка, Гравий? Накатим за это. И вчера накатывал. Весь день. Хватит с меня. 3 дня подряд бухать — это очень накладно. Что ты делаешь, Соколов, пожалуйста? Запах не очень. Ну тогда и... Ну и в жопу. Еда обязательно должна хорошо пахнуть и на вкус быть хорошей. Но если она уже пахнет не очень, значит... её- Freeze in 1 PD. Drop your weapon. Засела у меня в голове эта сцена из Макс Пейна 2.
So this is the legendary boss.
Лол, ты чё, обознался, идиот?
We meet at last.
Что ты крутишь? ТТшку, что ли?
You're from the Ocelot unit of Spetsnaz. What's a GRU soldier doing here?
Soldier?
Макаров, Оцелот.
He's the Ocelot commander.
That's Major Ocelot to you. And don't you forget it.
Будто аниме смотрю, да, такой пафос.
Get out of here.
Подожди еще, говорю.
Ocelot never lets his prey escape.
What?
Дойдем до момента, где он будет крутить револьверами. Раз. Два. И шапка в это время. 4, 5. Вот это точно прям аниме. С рикошетом. Не знаю. Может, они охуели, как он может. Тем более он как бы свой, по идее. Это уже какой выстрел? 7-й? Вообще, Снейк его на мушке
Can't
держит.
say it feels good to kill a comrade, even if it is for the GRU.
Sokolov.
Никогда, Грави. Никогда. Казаки.
You're not the boss, are you?
Сука. Мяу.
GRU operatives!
What is that stance? Huh. That gun.
Господи.
If you're not the boss, then die.
Заел.
Major! Leave it! Shoot the other one! Whoa!
Дротик. Вот они чего ждут и стреляют. Я хочу так в игре делать, как он в катсценах. Можно? Там чувак на фоне с ума сходит. Вот что с ним? Ты пьяный? А, дротик же. Я и забыл. Да, в ближнем бою оцелотик не очень. Какой-то размер. Боеголовка.
You
Possible.
rejected the first bullet by hand, didn't you? I see what you were trying to do, but testing a technique you've only heard about in the middle of battle wasn't very smart. You were asking to have your gun jam on you. Besides, I don't think you're cut out for an automatic in the first place. You tend to twist your elbow to absorb the recoil. That's more of a revolver technique.
You filthy American dog!
But that was some fancy shooting. You're pretty good.
You're pretty good.
Pretty good.
Это ничего, что Соколов-то убежал. По скайпу позвонить.
Major, do you read me?
I read you. Snake, you alright?
I've run into a few snags. These guys were after Sokolov too. Apparently they were taking orders from a GRU colonel named Volgan.
A GRU colonel?
Part of an internal Soviet power struggle, according to Sokolov. Something between the KGB and GRU. Between Khrushchev's supporters and Volgan's.
Sokolov was being guarded by the KGB and hunted by GRU? Snake, it sounds like this could be even hotter than Cuba.
I don't like it. Something about the whole thing stinks.
I agree. You'd better hurry.
Sokolov ran off by himself, but I'll catch up to him.
We're counting on you.
Так, нужно посмотреть, что здесь лежит, потому что я, возможно, что-то не поднял. Мне кажется, что так оно и есть. Кстати, можно сейчас сделать этот тайм-парадокс. Я не помню, кстати, на него ачивмент, по-моему, даже есть. Где там? Няша оцелот. Все. Ну почему?
Snake, you can't do that. The future will change. You'll create a time paradox.
Но почему? Но почему? А можно из нее что-нибудь вытащить? Что у тебя есть? Маустрэп? Серьезно? Все? Это все, что у тебя есть? Пошли со мной, я покажу тебе мир. Ну как так? Блин, вот эта локация такое нагромождение всего и вся, что я тут все время путаюсь. Где что находится? Ой. А что, нельзя так запрыгивать? Ок. Угу. Тут, кстати, некоторые звуки из Silent Hill прям взяты. Вот этот вот с решеткой. Чё там, чё там, чё там? Ты название копируй, пидор. Не заставляй открывать мне ссылки. Да, вот, по-моему, я что-то здесь не залутал. А этого чего-то, по-моему, теперь здесь и нету. Очень плохо. Годзилла? But why?